Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. This is Faizanul Haque from Lekhapora Online and welcome back to another video of IELTS preparation. We have started this series to help you prepare for the IELTS test. So make sure you subscribe to our channel for regular updates and regular videos. Right? So now in today's video, we are going to discuss about IELTS speaking test, and I am going to share some tips and tricks on how to score good and how to do well in the speaking test. So basically, I have already described the speaking format in our first video, which was on IELTS format. So if you have missed that video, please make sure you watch the video before this. I will give the link in our video's description. So before watching this video, make sure you watch our previous video. So now let's get started. There will be 3 parts in the speaking test: the introduction part, the cue card part, and lastly the discussion part. Today I'll explain what happens in the part 1. That means in the introduction part, or some may even say this is the interview part. Because one thing you need to remember is that the examiner will be the one who will ask you questions. You are not asking them any questions because it is not a conversation. It is an interview session. So some may say this interview part. Okay. For this part, you will get 4 to 5 minutes, and one thing, let me remind you that the speaking test is the same for both of the tests, academic or general test. There is no difference between whether you are taking academic or general test. So when you enter your test room, obviously when the examiner invites you in, one thing you should know is that they may turn on a small recorder or an MP3 player for recording purposes. Please do not get scared by that, because it is a rule to record your test. So when you enter to the room, the examiner would ask you to sit down and want to see your ID or passport for the verification. So the very first thing the examiner would probably ask you is, what is your name? So first thing he will ask, what is your name? You can answer this like this way. My name is Syed Faizanul Haque. Or you can just simply say your full name, Syed Faizanul Haque. That's it. Then they will probably ask, what can I call you? Keep it very simple. You can answer by saying, you can call me Faizanul, or you can say, just call me Faizanul. Very simple. Just call me Faizanul. Keep it really simple. No need to say any extra things, or no need to make it too wordy. And then the examiner would move on to ask you a couple of questions on just one topic. That can be either your home or hometown, family, neighborhood, work, studies, or hobbies. Okay, so now let's look at what they might ask you and how you should answer. But one thing you should know is that in the very first question about home or work or studies, it is something like a warm-up. It is like a warm-up series, because it is time for you to warm up and time for the examiner to get used to your voice and to your English. So basically, they don't evaluate the very first question, and it is very short. So you don't need to really worry too much about any fancy vocabulary, and no need to show off there. So, right? Just keep it really simple, short, and accurate. Okay, for each question in this section, just say about 2 to 3 sentences and keep it very, very brief. Now it is a warm-up, but it is also the first impression. So the first impressions are very, very important. So in your first two or three sentences or in answers, if you make any grammatical mistakes, it will create a huge bad impact on your speaking test. So your first impressions, straight away the examiner be like, oh, what a mess. And he will set a mind to not evaluate you that high. So in your first few sentences, keep them very short, simple, and accurate, so that there are no mistakes there, and the first impression would be very good. So if you try to make it complex or try to show off your English, there is a high possibility of making mistakes. So keep it simple, short, sweet, and accurate for 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, now let's look at the questions the examiner might ask. Firstly, they may simply ask, what do you do? Answer this question in real brief. Like if you're a student, you can simply say that I am a student and I am studying at X university or X college. Or if you are a working person, you can simply say I am self-employed or I am a service holder. So just like that, keep it really simple. Or specifically, you say that I work. Basically, I work in a school and I am a teacher by profession. Just like that. You can make your own answer like that, but keep it short, sweet, and accurate. Okay, right. Sometimes the examiner could ask this question very, very simply, like, do you study or do you work? So both are the same questions. Don't be afraid. Just answer in brief. Now, there are many people who are students as well as working part-time jobs. So many of them get confused and go through the dilemma of whether they should say they are students or they should say they do jobs and whatsoever. They tremble, thinking, is it gonna hamper or create any bad impact on their scores or not, and whatsoever. So remember, the examiner will evaluate you based on how you speak and how confident you speak and how you use English for communication. They don't care what you do. They don't really care if you're a student or you are a working person. Nothing. So do not hesitate to say the actual thing you do. If you are a student and working part-time jobs, you can simply say that I am a student. I also do a part-time job. That's it. It's not gonna make the examiner judge you. So be frank here. Okay, now the examiner could move on to asking questions either on these topics, or he may ask something from your previous answer to have the flow of talking. Right? So for example, they could have start asking you about your work or about your studies. Okay, so what's that gonna be like? Very simple. He may ask directly about your work or studies. The possible questions are, let me show you. There are some possible questions the examiner might ask you about your study. Okay, he might ask you what subject are you studying, or he might ask what is your major and explain me why. Why did you choose that university or college? Did you think your study subject is easy? Why? So these are some possible questions the examiner might ask if you are a student. And if you say you work, the examiner may ask you these questions like, what is your job? Do you like your job? Is this your first job or first profession? Do you think your job is easy? Explain me why. And why did you choose this profession? Or are you satisfied with your job? Etc. and so on. But these are some common possible questions that the examiner might ask, and this is the common format. Okay. To answer any of this question, again, the main tip is for you to make it very short and make it simple and make it really accurate. Do not try to respond in a complex way, just make it brief again here in these basic questions. Right? So now, if I was asked these questions in my speaking test, how would I answer? Let me share it with you guys. Firstly, if the examiner asked me about my study, if he asked me what subject are you studying, I would simply say that I'm studying Bachelor of Business Administration. That's it. If he asked what is your major, explain me why. I'd say my major is marketing. From my very childhood, from the very start of my university life, marketing was a very lucrative subject for me, and every business or company is related to marketing, and it is something we find everywhere. So I thought I have the potential to do something in this field. So I choose this major. See how I answer it like in 2 or 3 sentences? And here why I say 2 or 3 sentences, because the examiner asked me why, explain why. So I just give a brief about my major in just 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, now if he asked why did you choose that university or college, I would say I decided on that university because it was my dream to get into this university from my childhood. It has a good reputation, as well as it's a world-ranked university. That's why I chose that university or that college. That's it. Okay, now if he asked me, do you think your study subject is easy? Explain me why. My answer would be no. Actually, I don't think my subject is that easy because it covers the whole concept of the business world and also how human psychology works in marketing. Therefore, it is a fascinating subject to me, but not that easy. See, that would be my answer. Okay, now if I was asked about my work, suppose the examiner asked me, what is your job? I would say I am a part-time teacher and I teach English, accounting and finance. Do you like your job? Yes, I do like my job. Is this your first job or profession? Yes, it is my first job and my first profession. Do you think your job is easy? Explain me why. I'd say no. Not at all, because I need to make sure that I teach the right thing to my students. So for that, I have to do hard work. Therefore, it is sometimes a little bit stressful. Again, why did you choose this profession? I chose this profession because I enjoy teaching and spreading the knowledge I have. Also, my father was a teacher, so that also inspired me to choose this profession. Are you satisfied with your job? Yes, I am satisfied with my job, though it's a little bit stressful sometimes, but I enjoy doing my job. So that is how I would answer. You can refer to my sample answers and make your own answers for these possible questions, so that you can create a perfect first impression on your test. Alright, so So far, I have discussed about work and studies. In my next video, I'm gonna try to make some sample answers for some other topics like home, hometown, neighborhood, hobbies, etc. So for that, don't forget to watch my next video. I'll continue from here. So make sure you subscribe to our channel for regular videos and regular updates. So until next time, take care and happy learning. Goodbye.